Hi guys, this is La Contra. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to adapt a basic yoke and bustier from your basic bodice pattern using these simple beginner friendly pattern drafting techniques. Please like, share, subscribe and click on the notification bell. I know you're ready for this, so let's begin. Welcome guys. So to do a recap, this is shoulder line, chest line, bust point, under bust and front waistline. On the back you got chest line and back waistline. If you're confused, I suggest you watch video for basic bodice, link below. So right now I'm going to measure neck width and the neck depth to draw my neckline. Okay, so I'm just going to draw my neckline with the French curve. After that, I'm going to mark 1 inch down on the across back line, and then I'll draw the shoulder line. Okay, so you can see the shoulder slant on the bodice. I'll also mark the neck width on the back. For the neck depth, you could mark 1, but for the style I'm working with, it's as deep as the chest line, so I'm just going to draw a sharp V to the chest line. I'll also mark the shoulder slant. So watch how I do this. Look at my neckline, a sharp V straight down to the chest line. Okay, and then shoulder slant. So from here on, you're going to focus on the front bodice. So on the chest line, I'm going to measure and mark quarter of bust circumference. On the waistline, I'll do quarter of waist circumference plus 2 inches for dart intake. I'm going to take my ruler and connect those 2 points together to draw my side line. So you can see the side line. So next thing to do is I'm going to mark half of bust span on the waistline. I'm also going to do half of bust span on the chest line. I'll draw the bust span line out. You can see that's the bust span line. So from the apex, I'm going to mark 1 inch up and 1 inch down. Okay, because the dart is not supposed to get to the bust point. The shoulder slant, I'm going to mark the midpoint for a shoulder style line. So the dart intake on the waist is 2 inches, 1 inch on both sides. On the under bust, I'm going to do 1 1/4 inch on both sides of the bust span line. So watch how I construct the dart. So right now I'm just drawing the dart legs to draw what looks like a house. Ta-da! A house. So I'm also going to draw the shoulder style line. Pay attention to how I'm doing it. It's in broken line. Okay. So right now I'm going to blend all the sharp edges. So watch how I blend with my French curve. Okay, or anywhere I have a sharp angle, I blend into a curve. I'm also going to blend here from the bust point. Just pay attention to how I'm doing it. Okay, it's going to look like that when you blend. So right now we're going to do the bust dart, and you should know the bust dart is the difference between front waistline and back waistline. Here it's 2 inches. So from the bust point line on the side line, I'm going to mark 2 inches and I'll link it back to the bust point. Okay, so that's my bust dart. Ta-da! Finally, I'm going to do the armhole. So from the shoulder tip, I'll measure to the chest line. You can see how I'm measuring. I'll mark the midpoint. I'm going to square in by 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. and then I'm going to complete the armhole. Please, if you are confused, refer back to the basic bodice tutorial. Okay, and so I'm going to do the basic back. Basic back is ready, front and back. So right now I'm going to be working on the front, so I'll separate the front from the back first. Cut. I'll put the back aside. Okay, so I'll add seam allowance when necessary. So back to the front. To do the yoke, from the shoulder line, you're going to measure how deep you want the yoke to be. I want mine to be 7 inches deep. So I'll mark it to touch the armhole, like so. And then I want it to dip towards the chest line at the center front. So I'll take my curve, I'll turn it upside down this way, and then I'll draw my curve. Okay, my yoke line is curved, not straight. So this is going to be the yoke. And then the lower part is the bustier. Okay, so you're just going to cut out the bustier and separate the yoke. So watch how I'm going to do this. Cut out the excess from the center front. There's no seam allowance on this pattern. I'm going to be adding seam allowance later. Okay, please, when you are drafting, add seam allowance to yours. This is a tutorial, that's why I haven't added seam allowance, because I'm just demoing for you guys. So right now I'm going to cut out the yoke. Okay, so this is the yoke, and then I'm going to complete cutting out the style line. So from the style line I'll cut, and then I'll cut out one side following the curve we did. Okay, remember we blended into curves. So when you are cutting out, cut following the curve you blended, just like I'm doing. Okay, and then finally we're going to fold the bust dart just like I did in the basic bodice video. After folding it, you can see there's a misalignment in the side line. I'm going to true the side line to make it good. Okay, so you can see, then I can cut following the true side line now. Okay, so this is the side front and this is the center front, and this is the yoke. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. The next thing is to add seam allowance. Okay, so this is the center fold. It's going to be on fold, half inch here, half inch here, and half inch under the yoke. The center front, half inch here, half inch in, half inch here. Okay, and the side panel, half inch, and side seam 1 inch or half inch, as the case may be. Okay, and then for the back, I already have zipper allowance there. So you're just going to do half inch on the neck, half inch shoulder, half inch armhole, 1 inch side seam, and half inch on the hem. Okay, because you may want to attach it to a skirt or a peplum. So with that, we've come to the drafting. So I'm just going to show you a demo of what I've sewn. Okay, you can see my own yoke. Okay, you can see that the lower part of the bustier is lined, but the yoke is not lined. I hope this was helpful. I am La Contra. Stay inspired.